Hello together. The video, what I show you now, has been a long time in the making, and it has been requested numerous times from quite a few people. Here's the walkthrough of my Defender Tiny. Somehow your own vehicle is always last, but I've finally got the footage together, so please follow me and have a look at Tiny. Tiny's engine has been converted to a 2.8 international engine, which is turbocharged and by many regarded as the best diesel engine really for the Land Rover. It has dual alternators, it has a TD5 intercooler, an engine oil cooler, power steering cooler and one of the two auto transmission coolers. I also had the brakes upgraded with a PBR Ford Falcon modified brake booster and a PBR brake master cylinder, which is bigger. I'm very happy with that engine. It has excellent torque low down. With a GKN overdrive I can pretty much sit on 110 on the highway. And it's a very solid, simple engine which matches very well with the automatic gearbox which I have in there. For a gearbox, my play vehicle definitely needs an automatic transmission. I would not be happy with a manual gearbox for a play truck because you simply do not have the control required. In my opinion, or it makes things much more difficult really, and I really prefer to have full control. So Tiny has a 4-speed auto conversion, which is a 4HP22 with 4HP24 internals. That's a very strong gearbox, 4-speed mechanical gearbox, so not much which can go wrong there. The gear shifter is coming out of the race industry and is adapted to fit into the Land Rover. The vehicle also has a heavy-duty torque converter and two auto transmission coolers to ensure that the transmission is always nice and cool and does not overheat. The gearbox is paired with an LT230 transfer case. The transfer case has 49% straight cut reduction gears in. And together with the Portal 1.3 reductions, it gives me a very low desirable crawl speed. To keep the radiator out of the way and also work with space constraints with the 2.8 International and the TD5 intercooler at the front, it has been moved to the rear of the vehicle. The rear also houses a water pump and the two viscous fans which keep the radiator cool. The Defender started its life as a panel wagon, but then was cut down to an extra cab. The rear bar work was done originally and dramatically increases the departure angle. So you don't really have to worry about the side corners at all, which otherwise are a quite vulnerable part on the Defender. The custom-made front bar, which houses the Warn 9500 XP winch, is designed to have the best approach angle and has a very good front bash plate which protects the steering. The rest of the bar work I added the custom rock sliders which are fish plated to the chassis, as well as the rear brush bars and the rollover bar behind the cabin. I also have a swing-out rear wheel carrier which sits on gas struts, and it makes it much easier if I should have to change a tire. The starter battery is not easily accessible, so I have a positive and negative point on the outside of the vehicle. The fuel tank is well protected by a custom 5mm aluminium bash plate. In regards to the driveline, the vehicle has Maxidrive portal axles, which pretty much gives it an instant 5-inch lift. The housings are laminated. The actual axle shafts are Maxidrive heavy-duty axles. I have front and rear Maxidrive lockers, which are vacuum operated. The vehicle has rear steer, where I actually strengthened the rear steer and put a double shear setup in. It has a manual lockout bracket, which you see here to the left. So that pretty much makes it road legal. It is all engineered, and the lockout bracket needs to be taken off before going off-road, but that's only 2 nuts. The portal axle gearing is 1.3 to 1. It offers an additional reduction and less pressure and stress on the axles. I just upgraded the rear input shaft in the portals, which had a 10 spline at the CV end. So I got resplined Range Rover CV to 24 spline, and now the input shaft is 24 to 24 spline because the 10 spline end would occasionally shear off under a lot of load. No big deal, because you still can drive out in 3-wheel drive. And to change the stub axle, it's on a hoist probably an hour. It has custom rear trailing arms out of 7000 series alloy with Nissan rubber bushings and 3 4x7/8 chromoly heim joints. In the front I have 6-degree caster corrected heavy duty terra firma radius arms with Super Pro bushes. I'm not a big fan of terra firma products, but that were the only 6-degree caster correction arms I could find. The shocks are Koni Raid long travel shocks, and the springs are flexi-coils, top and bottom retained. This suspension setup allows for plenty of flex in the front and rear. The whole frame has been laminated to add strength and rigidity. You also see here the catch can for the Pro brand crankcase breather. The dash is a custom built aluminium dashboard, which houses all the gauges, switches and control units you pretty much need to operate the vehicle. To the left, the red lever is the lever for the rear steer control. To your right, that's pretty much the center diff lock and gauge, as well as the locker switches and the overdrive engage and disengage switch. To give me a bit more leg room, I replaced the steering wheel with a Momo competition steering wheel. I replaced the winch solenoid with an Albright and have now the winch controls in the cabin. Under the driver's seat I have a Boss heavy duty 100% duty cycle air compressor, which automatically feeds into an air tank. In between the 2 seats I have a Waco 40-liter fridge. The vehicle is set up that the thermofans and water pump and everything engages automatically. You can monitor all the statuses via the dashboard, but you also have manual override options to switch the fans on, for example, for low range crawling in very hot conditions. The wheels are Walker Evans bead locked racing alloy wheels, and as tires I run BFG KM2 37-inch diameter. The headlights are replaced with 105 watt dot approved full LED light replacements. I have a 220 watt LED light bar on the bull bar, which gives more than sufficient light for close-up work at night. The rear lights are LED truck lights, and I also have rock lights under the vehicle and under each wheel arch. On top of that is a rear searchlight to illuminate the rear. The rear tray houses 2 lockable aluminium boxes, which in return has my recovery gear, tools and also a second battery, as well as an auxiliary 40-liter diesel tank with a transfer pump. I also have a second basket in the back where I have my bag with the rest of the recovery gear. So space-wise there is not that much space. The Safari sealed snorkel is fitted for clean air and water fording. Yeah, so as a conclusion, I certainly have spent a lot of time and money on Tiny since I bought it, and made quite a few improvements, modifications, and hands down it is the most capable road legal vehicle I've ever owned and driven. I really love it, but it has one limitation, that is really space. So there is not much space to carry all my camera gear, all my drone gear, and possibly even a cameraman. But otherwise it's super reliable, it's super capable, fairly basic engine wise, gearbox wise, not overcomplicated. Yeah, just an absolute brilliant car, and I mean, not for nothing. I think apparently it has cost around $250,000 when it was originally built. This was it in my Defender Tiny walkthrough. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Please don't forget to subscribe and like, and I see you soon, and maybe sometimes around the tracks.